for her future, and just excited about just my legacy, and
Amen. Amen.
just watching her and thinking about my legacy, my mama, my grandma, and us, and how just amazing we are, and what a treasure we are to this planet.
Yes.
Just,
Yes.
oh my God. I'm just in a space. Been in a space for 3 days. Just
That's so
like,
beautiful.
so ready to heal the world, heal a broken heart.
Okay.
So
Well,
yeah.
excellent, excellent. And that feels good, right? That feels so good to know that we participate in the process. Yesterday, well, yeah,
And
yesterday,
happy belated birthday, girl.
I ain't had no birthday.
Oh, I saw a thing that said happy birthday to you.
My cousin, girl, my birthday is on the 19th. The
Oh, whoa. I met somebody this weekend whose birthday is March 19th.
Really,
That must be significant to me.
probably one of my friends.
Wow. What are the odds? I'm going to pay attention to that.
Male or female?
A male.
So I went into Whole Foods the other day and I spoke to this guy like, hey, now I don't know if he had on a mask. Sometimes I leave my mask hanging unless, of course, I'm getting close to people. And so I think he could see who I was, but I don't know if he knew, if I knew, or if he knew that, whatever. But I spoke to him once and he was just staring at me. And then I spoke to him again. How you doing? And then when I got ready to speak to him the third time, because he's still staring at me and not speaking, I got ready to speak to him the third time. And he says, do you know who I am? I said, yes, you're the guy who has the birthday the same date as me, but don't ask me what your name is. And then he told me,
You better remember.
girl, I think his name is David or something. I don't know. I don't know what his name is. I know you got the same birthday as I do.
Did y'all celebrate somewhere at the same time?
Well, I used to give a party every single year.
Mm-hmm.
And so people who are in Cleveland who had a birthday with me would show up a lot of times. So he came before a couple of times before. The girl who ran for council, her birthday is the same day as mine, and she showed up a few times. And I got a lot of people who have the same birthday as me. A guy named Emerson, who I've known since I was really young. He has the same birthday as me. There's a lot of people that are born on the same day. And so it's funny because I get a lot of people who friend me because they share a birthday or because we share a name.
Oh, okay.
When you look at my friends list, I probably got at least 10 Sandra Bishops in there that friend me because of name. And then I got people in there who share the same birthday as me too. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's weird.
That's interesting though. I'm gonna pay attention to that 319, see what that's all about. Yeah.
You know what? I woke up this morning, number on my mind, and I was like thinking to myself, I needed to write it down. So yes, 319 is my birthday. And I was just informed that it's on a Saturday this year.
Wow.
And and it's been at least since the shutdown, I have not had a party, but I used to always have something somewhere. And I miss doing that because I miss seeing all my friends and getting my hugs and dancing my dances and all of that stuff. So I used to do a photo album of every year and all the people that would show up and all that stuff. And the last couple of years, it's just been me and my family.
Yay.
Yeah, look, I'm happy and feeling honored and blessed because of that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good. I got no complaints.
Um,
Some of my favorite people in the world.
right?
Yes.
Uh,
Oh my goodness. So yeah, no, sometimes I'm always amazed at the people who say happy birthday and think that, yeah, that it might be my birthday. But I if I have pictures with somebody who has a birthday that I know, I usually put up a picture that I have with them. And I
okay.
old pictures too. So yes, it's coming though. It's coming. It's 4 weeks away or something like that.
Yeah.
So
My birthday month also. So
what day is yours on?
the 31st, the last day of the
March
month.
31st. Okay, Aries. Okay. Let me make sure I have that in my phone. Um,
Okay.
and then okay, so this weekend, I yesterday in particular, I had received the church that I had applied for. Yeah. So I'm teaching a Course in Miracles for them starting on Thursday, but I, for some reason,
Oh, okay.
didn't realize that it was coming up so swiftly. And so this is only going to be a 6-week course. And so I'm going to just do like talk about ideas from A Course in Miracles instead of trying to do something that would drag it out. We're going to just be grouping ideas together. So she asked me to come in and so that the live stream and the people who were in the audience could hear about A Course in Miracles. And so, or me announce the class. And so I go in and I asked her, I said, how much time do I have? And she says, 60 seconds. And I looked at her like, what am I going to do in 60 seconds? Is kind of what I was like thinking. 60 seconds. And she says, okay, 90. I said, okay. I said, okay, I won't go over 2 minutes. That's what I told her. I said, I won't go over 2 minutes. And she was like, well, 90 seconds is a lot. You'd be surprised. And then she looks at me and she was like, but I guess you know that. And I was like, yeah. I said, but it's kind of like, to me, putting on a sweater that you already know is too small. You know what I mean? And so I may not take up the entire time, but I don't want to be sitting up there thinking to myself, oh, I got to talk real fast because I only got, I don't want to do that. So
This was like for a commercial?
it was just me announcing it's kind of like a commercial, but it's like there were people in the audience at the church and there were people online.
Okay.
And so I got up and I basically talked about, A Course in Miracles. And it's, how it's one of those things, how I am. I ain't prepared nothing, but I just knew I didn't want to be up there thinking I got to talk real fast. Right. So I did that, and then I sat through the entire service, and it was interesting because they had this little, I don't want to call her little, it was a woman that was the musician for the day, and she's been teaching a class. It's a white woman. She's been teaching a class on the blues to Cleveland public students. And so she said, since this was the end of Black History Month, she wanted to do some songs by Black composers. And she said that she was going to do Lift Every Voice and Sing. So, I was trained, right? You don't sit down when they're doing the Black national
Little
anthem.
anthem. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I stood up, right? And I walked to the back of the room, but I stood up. and she started strumming on her guitar, and I was thinking to myself, like, that's interesting, right? Girl, it was like a folk song when she sang it. She like totally did the recomposure all over again. And it was folky. And then she said one of her students, because she's also teaching songwriting, one of her students did a verse. And so she wanted to sing the student's verse in with the rest of the verse. And I was just sitting up there like, wow, this is interesting. It was nice. And it was nice. It was interesting, but it was nice. Oh, I was just, and it didn't have the heavy feel to it, right?
Mhm.
It had a light, folky kind of,
Oneness?
huh?
Was it like a oneness type experience, or was it like a solo, like a performance?
It was, uh, it was, no, it wasn't about something that you could sing along, because if you didn't know the melody, you didn't, we may have known the words, but we didn't know how she was singing it, because she
Okay.
started strumming on the guitar, and I was like, that's not, we're used to lift every voice, and hers was lift every, I don't know. It was just like, it was so different from what I had ever heard. But it lightened it up. It's like the difference between fluffing something, like putting whipped cream in the middle. That's the only way I could. It was just a fluffed up version, but it was really good and interesting.
Good.
So yeah, so that the whole I walked out, um yeah, feeling pretty good, like feeling a good vibe, and I had to rest
Nice.
so I could work on my talk. Yeah, so it was cool. It was cool. It was,
Good.
I had a good time.
That's good.
Mhm.
That's good.
Yeah. Good morning, Ruth.
Good morning, Ruth.
Yeah, so I am okay. So, and then anything else special happened yesterday? I attended this, there's a thing called Cleveland Dinners, and I had not heard of it or been exposed to it before, but apparently it's a monthly group that gets together on the fourth Sunday of every month. And they have a discussion about either a book or a movie. And you can when they break down into groups, I don't know how, most people didn't seem like they were having dinner, right? But that's kind of like the thing. It's supposed to be you have dinner at your house, and yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
You got a different background today.
I'm in Seven's room.
Oh, you in Seven's room? Okay, okay, cool. Um, so how's your mom and dad?
My dad's still in the hospital.
Oh,
He may or may not be coming home today.
did they
Uh,
figure out what was going on?
yeah, sort of, kind of. So
Oh,
we're gonna see. And he sounds so much better. He sounds resolved to follow doctor's orders. We'll find out when he gets home.
mm-hmm,
And he probably just ready to come home,
mm-hmm,
Um, and and yeah, my mom is doing better. So the baby is here with us. So she's my mom is in her, happy place because she gets to take care of the baby, but she's not young anymore. So it's taxing. It's a lot of energy that is expended. And even though the little one is on oxygen, she still is my grandchild. Like, she is just so busy until she's not, because she gets very exhausted. But she will go until she doesn't.
mm-hmm.
And so yeah, but everybody is everybody is doing good. I mean, it's all good. It's
Yes. Regardless, it's all good.
yeah, it's all good.
Good morning, Sarika. Welcome back. Welcome
Good
back.
morning, Sarika. Good
Yay.
morning.
So,
In my neighborhood, all is well.
yes. Okay. Excellent. So anyway, there is, of course, this weekend was just, it was a weekend, and I certainly appreciated. Oh, yes, life is good. Life is good. Life is good. Life is good. I just can't even. It's so good. Anyway,
Mhm.
so as we come in here today to re-embark or to revisit this stuff, we have talked about a lot of stuff last week when we talked about the active imagination. We talked about images. We talked about holding pictures in our mind that basically overshadow or kind of stand in front of whatever um, you know, thing that you are trying to shift your vision away from. And so he said that, this idea that there are images that are strong enough to overshadow the trauma emotions and the sensations that live in your body. So we did some talking around that and what that may look like last week. And so today, as we get in here, and to pay attention to the images that come up, because sometimes we don't recognize that the things that come up for a particular reason. Like, even like Stephanie just said, 319 is like, now she's heard that number for the second time, and it means pay attention, because a lot of times we think stuff is accidental, but really it is, it can seem coincidental, but sometimes it turns into something that is serendipitous, that shows up right because it's supposed to. And yeah. I had a girlfriend that she used to say all the time. She's still my girlfriend, one of my girlfriends. But she used to say all the time, she was like, "Man, I wish I could meet a man like you." I thought that was just such a funny thing to say. Like, okay. I thought it was a funny, cute thing to say, but
That is cute.
yeah, but if she met a guy that was like me in a male version of me, she probably wouldn't like him either.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, sometimes I think we set ourselves up for certain things, right? I think we set ourselves up, like say for instance, when somebody says work, we have the perception that work should be something that is that we don't want to do. Work seems to be laborious when you say the word work. And it feels different than saying, what's your career? You're talking about a career versus a job seems or has a different feel, although they could be one and the same. It's sort of like the difference between, for me, fate and desire, or I mean, not fate and desire, fate and destiny.
Destiny.
Yeah, it's got a textural feel that's different. So if somebody says, what's your job, or talk about it in a way that's work, it seems like job and work presents resistance, where career and maybe even occupation feels different texturally. So when I'm thinking about this in here, what we're talking about is sometimes we have to, even in our own minds, just change the texture around things so that we have a different response to them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely being able to shift our paradigm is like, that's the magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the magic right there, is being able to give it a different meaning and then give it a different feeling, because neurons that fire together wire together. And
Yes.
that's the bottom line.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so when so we were talking about all of that both last week, and as we come back in here, we talk about he starts talking about a this paradigm shift away from viewing the brain as fixed and talking about it in a way that talks about how flexible and changeable our brain is. And so if you could imagine that at one point we had this view that everything in our brain was just kind of like, almost like when you go bowling and the gutters are on either end,
Mm-hmm.
ball always seems to go like magnetized towards the gutter, and it goes down into the gutter, and it's like it's almost like it's in that groove and it goes down. But the funny thing about it is that when we're doing the same thing over and over, that repetition, it gets like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that what we realize is that our brains are not fixed, and that any moment there could be this shifting that takes place when we introduce something new into our lives. And so so our brains are flexible, they're capable of changing, and all we need to do in order to change them, and I'm not trying to make it sound like it's easy, but to start doing something different. So instead of doing the same thing over and over again, the repetitious patterns that we have, start doing something different. Some people, you might decide to do crossword puzzles, or go for a walk in the woods, or ballroom dance like Stephanie likes to do. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we can do that causes the brain to then start to create new pathways,
Mm-hmm.
because we're doing something different.
Goes down a different street.
Yes, 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 right. Um, so it says seeing it flexible and capable of change is important, and then doing things that support it to its change and its flexibility. Um, and he says new experiences can create new neural pathways, and these pathways are strengthened through repetition. So say for instance, when I talk about, because Stephanie is an early riser anyway, I talk about how the resistance between me getting up early in the morning, that was a resistance. And so then when I started waking up, then it's like, okay, now let me make this a habit. Let me do some new things in this new segment of time that I have. And there is a groove there, there's a gutter there that still wants to stay up past the time. And it's like I feel myself going over into that gutter, saying I want to stay up until at least 11 o'clock, but then I'm paying for it the next day. So I need to stay out of that gutter.
Bless you.
Oh, excuse me. I was sneezing all night long.
Hmm.
Whatever. I'm so thrilled that that we are not, it probably from here on out, what I'm hoping is that we're staying above the freezing mark. I know that may not happen, but it looks
Come
like,
on. Yes.
yeah, that we're gonna be above the freezing mark, at least for part of the day every day, which is just beautiful. Spring is
Mhm.
on the way.
Yes, I can feel it in my bones.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I'm also congested already. So
I had this weekend, so I blame my congestion on that.
you had what this weekend?
Dairy,
Dairy. Okay.
macaroni and cheese, which is something I don't typically eat.
Mm. I'm not fond of macaroni and cheese. I eat my sister's macaroni and cheese, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm just not. So,
I
but
don't eat it often, but I ate it. This is like it's not even a holiday, but I ate it, but I paid for it anyway. My congestion is from
okay.
dairy, just the slightest amount of dairy. Go ahead.
Hmm. Okay, so so this idea of practicing something, right? Of practicing it until it cuts a new groove or a new neural pathway is a powerful thing. And so just trying to figure out what it is that that you would like to do, and then starting to do that. So if it's dancing, or if it's a new dance step, something that, because we all, because we old school, usually we doing the same two-step we always did. We know that we got it down, but now
Muscle memory.
muscle memory.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, but now all of a sudden we start doing something different, then that cuts a new pathway. So if it's yoga where you may not have done yoga before, if it is reading, or waking up something in you that may not have been there before, sometimes even stuff like you can just find new relaxing things to do, whether it's cooking or baking. I have heard people, doctors prescribe have more sex as a thing to you know, wake up different parts of your brain, different parts of your body, your being. So there's a lot of stuff that we could do if we really are about the business of trying to have a younger brain. So, and then he says, essentially, the more we practice something, the more we train our brain to change. And and Stephanie and I give y'all new stuff in here all the time, right? If it's taking a cold shower, or learning how to ground yourself outside, in the grass, whatever it is, you know, just try it. What do you have to lose? It's not like,
Nothing.
yeah, not like,
Nothing. It's
right.
done. It's over with. You've done it.
Yeah.
And you may be willing to do it again.
Right.
But yeah, like, ah.
Yeah. I,
Mhm.
I just think it's so neat. And yeah, yeah, it's so neat. So what it all boils down to is this Donald Hebb presented in 1949, this idea that neurons that fire together wire together. And so when you start activating your brain neurons in that type of way, it is really something that is much better for you. So say, for instance, if you are negative Nelly, or chatty Kathy, or just a drama Karen, whatever it is that has been your normal, you don't have to be that normal. You can shift around how it is you see yourself. And all of us, I hope, at some point have made some major changes, so that we know that major changes are possible. Like I do major changes probably every few years, whether it is giving up meat, um or let's see, I mean, I change a lot of stuff, right? um And so when you think about what it is that you could do different, I mean, you could just start sauna. Uh, you could do a whole bunch of stuff different, a whole bunch of stuff. Good morning, Winnie. Good morning. She said, "Good morning."
Good
Right?
morning.
Yeah. She got the what's that woman's name? Medea thing going on.
Yeah. I watched Medea this weekend. Actually, I sat down and talked about doing stuff different. I watched television uh
Uh,
this weekend. What day? All day Friday. I watched television, and did I watch television Saturday too? But anyway, I watched television, and that was nice, but I can see how one could be lost in that activity. So it definitely won't be a daily practice for me, but it was nice. I watched Medea, and I watched Goop, which was really good.
I
Yeah,
love Goop.
that was so good. And yeah, so yeah, so that interesting. But I did watch Medea. Anyway, it was fun.
I didn't see. I watched. I did watch a movie, but it wasn't the Medea movie. How was it?
It was Medea.
Okay. Yeah.
It was some funny stuff in there. But it was good. I needed to do that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I did watch. I don't know what it's called, but I watched the movie. And I finished. I love that Raising Dion. I
Where
love.
have I heard that from?
It's on Netflix. I've talked about it on here before. It's the little boy superhero, little black boy superhero. I love
Oh,
that show.
yeah. I was just fascinated with you talk about doing something different, is where my brain is right now because I'm in the creative phase. Just watching the creation. So, what I really like about Tyler Perry's movies is the things that happen after the movie, all the bloopers and all the ways that he shows up, as a director and as a boss,
Mm,
and just knowing his story, that which he's revealed to us, just what he's revealed to us, and knowing his story, and then watching him living full on and full out in that journey,
mm,
unashamed, because the role that he chose comes with a lot of criticism and stereotypes, and even just from his own people, and even from his male counterparts. So I was just in a fascinating place watching his creation and his creativeness and his ability to come up with those things over and over again, and just push and push and push. So although I enjoyed, the art that I loved about that experience this weekend, was just being fascinated with the mind and asking for that download for myself.
right.
So it was good.
Yeah, I have a friend that is a lot like Tyler Perry, although he does a lot of plays that he's in Atlanta now. He moved from here to Atlanta, and he loves writing stage plays. And one of the things he does is, and the marketing way that he does it, there's so many people that want to be actors and actresses that he's like, okay, if y'all want to get paid, then y'all got to sell tickets for this. So it's like you can be in the play, but you also have to generate money for it so that everything is covered. And so I think that is his business model, and he seems to do really well with that. And he's traveled with some. He started off as a stand-up comedian, and now it just seems like he does these plays. And I'm so glad that it's been able to sustain him for. I mean, I've known him since back in the late, I'm mid 80s. Yeah.
Okay.
So And he's been able to sustain himself, which is beautiful. He's also a good, good marketing person and promotes himself. And so when, we see people who do stuff just like that, is sometimes we make it seem as if it is about a dollar amount rather than a personal fulfillment, which to me is a higher calling, just to do what it is that you're called and driven to do, regardless of how much. And then what I find is that you'll be taken care of anyway, right?
Mm,
just
mm.
it just all falls together, it works together for your good.
Yes.
So there is something wonderful about getting up every day being excited to do what you do, if it's
Mhm.
to make the world
Now
beautiful.
I challenge everybody to position themselves for that. Oh,
Mhm.
what a world it would be if we had to take a shift to make sure that we get up every day doing something that we are excited about or passionate about. That would be my desire and my prayer right now for the world.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, something that enlivens your spirit. I mean, that right there is just juicy. And it don't have to be anything big.
Nope.
It just has to be what you love. So, he says this idea of we benefit most when we practice having new experience we perceive as being positive, rewarding, or meaningful.
Hmm.
And it's so funny. He says one that emerges or engages our sense of curiosity and wonder. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was talking about she went out to eat. She went out to eat by herself. She went out to dinner by herself. And I said, "Did you sit at the bar?" And she was like, "No." She was like, "I don't like sitting at the bar." And I was like, "Ooh, that's that's one of my favorite things to do." I don't know about other people, but I really love to go out to eat and sit at the bar, regardless of whether or not I'm drinking, because sitting at the bar allows me to talk to people, and I'm constantly meeting new people. I don't feel like I got to sit there at the table by myself and pretend not to look at other tables or something. I get to talk to whoever happens to be within earshot of me. And it is always, I mean, I meet so many people. It's always good and juicy for me. And she's just like, "No, I don't sit at bars."
Well, I
And
sit at bars when I want to socialize. When I sit at a table, I literally want to be alone. And I eat out a lot by myself. And so when I want to talk to people, I'll sit at the bar. And when I don't, I will definitely sit alone. And I prefer a corner somewhere like a food critic.
yeah,
I want to be by myself. But when I don't want to be by myself, I will sit at the bar too.
yeah, I very rarely if I go sit at the table, it's because I got a book I want to read,
Hmm.
or that I got something that I want to occupy my time with. But yeah, usually, even when I go out sometimes with a guy, because I want to see the kind of person that they are too, because I am, as most people know, I am somebody who I have a hard time with people who aren't personable. So when I first started going out with Alan, he used to, like, "Whoa, you talk to everybody." But once he gave up his resistance to it, he kind of, he learned how it, and it wasn't because he was coming from a place of, "I want you and your attention all to myself." No, it was more like, it was because he wasn't comfortable with striking up conversations with people that he didn't know. And for me, that's a skill set, you know? And so I wanted to see the kind of person, I like to see the kind of person that people are. But I have women friends that'll say, we don't know them. They'll be like, we don't know them. Do you know them? You're like, no, I don't know them. That's exactly who I'm talking to. So I get that it's like, yeah. And I not only do I think it's doing a favor for me, but it's also doing a favor for somebody else that may not have ever been able to, or had somebody, like me or my color, may not ever have somebody that ever struck up a conversation with them. And yeah, it's worked out beautiful for me. I don't know too often that people are, most people open up and most people talk. And so it's really been good for me. All right. So and I used to sit down and look at people like, I know you got a blessing for me today. So let's see what it is. That was my attitude too. So that's one of the things that I think, leaves you open and curious too. So anyway, so he goes on and he talks about all this stuff. When we repeatedly revisit the feelings and sensations associated with a new experience, not only can structures in our brain begin to wire together, but we can also stimulate the release of feel-good neurotransmitters such as serotonin or dopamine, or feel-good hormones like oxytocin, right? And so it, when we get so like, for instance, when I was talking about that, I got this feel good sensation that I get when I meet new people, right? Because in my mind, that's a win or a bonus or and so even me thinking about it puts me in a good mood. When somebody asks you to visualize one of your favorite moments, do you have a favorite moment that is like a go-to moment for you?
Yes.
Were you on vacation, or was it a regular life event, or baby being born? What's your
It's it's
okay.
performing on tour in 12th grade, just that whole week of touring. Yeah, it's that whole week of touring. I'll never forget it. And it was interesting because I had lost something at Kentucky State University in one of the new dorms that was really precious to me. And it was my very first time ever experiencing something that I could have obsessed over. And I did. And then I made myself stop. And I noticed that when I'm in performance mode, singing and dancing, I'm in a whole different world. And that was my first time uh re- recognizing that in that space I am in another space. And so I can take myself to um that tour of 1984 and just revel in it, because I made some really huge choices. I chose not to obsess over something that I had lost, because once we left Kentucky State University, we went on to North Carolina and I couldn't go back there, right? And so I practiced because of whatever my childhood paradigms were. I was an obsessor and feeling like I messed up. And I remember being able to shift my focus from that to getting on stage and doing what I needed to do, and for a whole week of just practicing that. So that's my feel good space of remembering that person, that boldness, that mhm, that's
Okay.
uh,
Yeah, that's good, right?
mhm.
And And I have some interesting feel good moments, none of which were in Cleveland.
Hey, mine either. How about that? Yeah, let me think about that reality. Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And so, for me, that is also like one of those real
wow.
kind of awarenesses, that the times that I relate to that were my best were not in Cleveland. Yeah, they were not. Whatever. um and I've had some things that, you know, but yeah, they just not even close.
I have one feel good moment in Cleveland, but I'm still wrestling with it. So I'm not quite sure what that was. But
Yeah,
if I've had one, I've had one. But I'm still determining if that was some type of shadow reaction going on inside of me or what. But I've only had one, like, whoa, that's amazing type
yeah.
deal here. Um, just one, just one. Even the birth of my kids are like, I'm happy that they were here, but that's work.
Yeah, yeah. So according to this, though, this idea that our brains change and that we don't have to. One of the things I love about A Course in Miracles is it does say right up front in the workbook that an untrained mind can accomplish little. And this idea that we can train our minds or retrain our minds to think and to be in a different way is powerful. That to know that we don't always have to go down the same pathway or the same street that we've gone down every other day of our life. That all of a sudden, something that could have made you clock 6 months ago, now all of a sudden is like water off of a duck's back. We have the ability to change. And so, when he goes through, when he talks about this stuff, um, you know what, I was like thinking to myself when we started talking about this, how does that fit in with the family mind? But I think it's because we've we've got we've gotten
Paradigms.
to
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we've gotten accustomed to thinking the way that, say, for instance, we grew up in, our family has always done it this way. We get stuck in that rut of thinking a particular way. And now what he's trying to do is say that we don't have to, that we are not victims of our genes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because a lot of times we think, oh, that's just my genes. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
we can step out of the captive of
yeah,
it and start to unlock the key and release ourselves. There is the woman that runs with wolves. There's a story of a similar um uh what is it? Beard? Somebody beard. Anyway, there's a story in there where a woman was locked into a belief that manifested into her being locked into a prison. And yeah, so we can unlock ourselves by changing and remembering who we are. That to me is the journey home. It's remembering who I am, remembering the home, the
or that we don't have to make our home in the same space that we've always been in. I was reading a story about a woman who was talking about how she thought her family was cursed that her grandmother had been on welfare, her mother was on welfare, they had all had babies at an early age, that they had been locked in poverty and going through all of this stuff. And she said one day that she had gone on some kind of a field trip, and she saw that there were people who were living much better lives than the one that she was living. But from everything that she could see, everything that she was exposed to, people were struggling, people were living in, these government housing, people were having all kinds of stuff. And then she got outside of that bubble that she was in, and she realized, wow, this doesn't have to be my experience. And so then she started saying, well, how can I change my experience? So she actually, I think this was a book I read. Maybe it was a book I read. So she actually set out to, she left her family behind. She didn't call them. When she left to go, when she figured out how to get through school, get and no, she wanted to go to school. So when she got out of high school, she left going to another state, and she never again talked to or contacted her family. And so at the place where this story is picking up in was that her mother had passed, and she was going home because she didn't go to the funeral, but she was going home after the fact because somebody was talking about that there was a will, and that they couldn't proceed forward with the mother's estate until the people who were named in the will showed up.
Mm.
But she was totally resistant to having anything to do with her family, because she was trying to break what she thought was generational curses. And that meant she needed to turn her back on them, and not because it was a groove. I think when we're talking about it from this perspective,
I get
yes,
that.
she's talking about it as if I fell back into that. She went someplace else and made a life for herself, became successful in what she was doing.
Probably
And
like the allegory of the cave.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And she was just like refusing,
I
like,
get that.
yeah. And then even the question of, what does my mother have that she could possibly leave to me that would be of any value to me?
Mm.
And so when she stepped back into the picture, it was with major resistance.
Mm.
So yeah. So so
That's good.
thinking about it from this perspective, a lot of times we have the perception that that things are fixed, that we are going down that same pathway, that same stuff over and over again, until all of a sudden we break out and realize that we can change our brain. And it's not, sometimes things pull us back. This one guy who wrote this book, he was like saying, he says, sometimes you got to, even when he was talking about health and stuff like that, he says sometimes you are around people who contribute to your unhealthiness. So if it's a person who's trying to force you to eat in ways that you don't want to eat or no longer eat, or trying to force you into being a couch potato, or he was like, you got to make decisions about your life for your life and not for other people's comfort. So figure that out too.
Yeah. It's not easy at all, but it is definitely doable.
It's not, because we
Definitely doable.
loyal. Yeah. Sometimes people talk about these women ain't loyal, but
I
right,
don't know where at. So,
right.
and I know that's not proper English, but I meant what I just said. I don't know where at. but okay.
All right. Well, it is that time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Happy
you. Thank
Monday,
you.
everybody.
Yes.
Stuff
Glorious.
to do, people to see.
All right. So, yeah, so we'll be moving on. We've gotten a lot of this done, so we'll see where we are tomorrow. And I appreciate y'all being here. Stephanie, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great Monday. Magnificent Monday.
Yes, magnificent Monday.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right, see ya. So today, it was interesting because I was feeling a little funny. But all is well, all is well. We did what we came here to do, to talk about this particular section. And even as I moved through this, yeah, even as I move through this material, I think about even what it means for me, right? I mean, when I think about my happy moments, and I think about my happy moments when not here in Cleveland, although I love kicking it and hanging out and all of that stuff. But the times when I felt like I was really like, just like in my in the groove and feeling amazing and wonderful, it wasn't here. And I really, there's a part of me that thinks that we should all be chasing after our happy, right? Chasing after happy. So what does that mean for you? I have to keep thinking about what that means for me and then moving in that direction. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Because everything is good when we're challenging ourselves to do more, to be more, whatever. It's good. It's good. It's good. It can be scary, but it's good. All right. So I will be here tomorrow, God willing, and the creek don't rise. I hope you have an amazing, marvelous Monday. And yeah, and so thank you so much. And I will see you tomorrow. All right. Blessings to you. And I am off.